What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 375. And lots to talk about, man. Lots to talk about. First, I want to talk about the feedback I've gotten from the Shaw Money XL interview now that it's basically almost fully out. Great feedback, man. Everybody's been loving it. I just now need to figure out, who else I'm going to interview next because I just haven't really had time. I've been working on so many behind-the-scenes things to where it's not been my focus to start interviewing people again. So I might do the Kid stuff and drop that interview because I did remove it from the internet. Basically, it's only available on Diverse Mentality interviews on the Spotify and like Apple Music and all that. So I might drop that as actual video format on the YouTube channel. I'll see. But yeah, I haven't reached out to anybody for an interview yet. Just been busy, man, busy. It's not like those interviews are not my bread and butter. That's not like, I never started doing that. My bread and butter is documentaries and stuff like that. So we'll see. But the feedback's been amazing. I might do that type of style of documentaries more because I've received more, let's just say better feedback on the Shaw Money interview than any other interview that I've done. That's not to say that the other interviews weren't appreciated and that people didn't say it was a great interview, but the Shaw one, like people are saying, interview of the year and all this stuff, which is funny because, it was released in 2023. Well, not the full interview, but you get it, the documentary. So yeah, we'll see on what I'm doing on that end, but I'm working on a documentary right now, trying to get that, squared away and out while I'm working on some behind the scenes stuff and just managing day-to-day life and trying to expand on other social media platforms and just, all that stuff that comes with working. So yeah, there's a lot that I'm doing day by day. I haven't even gone on my personal Twitter and actually tweeted, or even on my Instagram. I barely post now. I'll post here and there, but the posting on those have been drastically reduced just because of how busy I've been. That's not to say that when I was posting, I wasn't busy, but now it's gotten to a point where I don't even care about any posting on social media. I just want to grow and make sure that Diverse Mentality expands into a huge media powerhouse. That's what's been my goal. So yeah, the podcast, we're growing on this side of things. We're going to try to figure out how to do things a little bit more differently. Now, every day I'm trying to record at least one clip to post out there when it relates to news. That way, we're more fresh and on the topics instead of waiting a day or 2 or 3 days to post the actual clips. Because by the time this comes out, by the time the news hits, there's more news coming out, and it's news is every day. It's consistent. So, but yeah, thank you guys always for supporting. Let's get into the news. A lot of it has to do with Diddy, and the first one is potentially a lawsuit towards Netflix, and it's because of that Netflix documentary that 50 Cent executive produced. So let's go over the article. It's been just over a week since Sean Combs' The Reckoning hit Netflix. Allegedly, the mogul is already preparing to fire back. Media Takeout exclusively reports that Diddy and his family are allegedly readying a massive defamation lawsuit against the streaming giant over the 50 Cent produced docuseries. This documentary was made to assassinate his character. It isn't journalism, it's entertainment, one source alleges. Allegedly, Diddy has hired one of the most powerful law firms in the United States and plans to seek at least $1 billion in damages. Per the source, the number could allegedly go up if Netflix fails to retract certain accusations. This latest update doesn't exactly come as a surprise. Diddy's team has already made their feelings on the doc known. So we already talked about that it's a shameful hit piece, they said, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how much to believe Media Takeout. It's been a while since they've ever been a credible source. That website's kind of died down, and a lot of that shit was popular in 2012. But Media Takeout hasn't been a reliable source for any type of news in a really, really long time. Really, really long time. And their website looks like it was built in fucking 2008. No disrespect to Media Takeout, but yeah, it's just not a really reliable site. They probably heard this from Diddy's friend of a friend. It's not that reliable source. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of people don't remember this, or don't not remember this, but just don't think of this. Netflix is a multi-billion-dollar company. Do you really think they're going to release a documentary without making sure that there's no way somebody could have a case against them to sue them? You got to think about this. Really, really think about this. Me, when I was working on my mini little documentary with nowhere near a budget of Netflix, when I was doing my Get Rich or Die Trying documentary, and I was talking to 50 Cent's lawyer, I was crossing my T's and dotting my I's trying to make sure I don't get sued. And I don't even have a lawyer of team, and I don't have a huge team of lawyers. I had one lawyer, and it was my friend who's, God bless his soul, he did his thing. He told me a lot, but that's it. That's all I had. I had 2 other lawyer friends, but they were kind of like, I don't really know what to say about it, but they were like, hey, as long as you don't destroy his image or say something that's not true, you're good. Now, in this Sean Combs The Reckoning, like a lot of this stuff has already been said. There's nothing really new other than the never before seen footage. When you look at the whole documentary, there's really nothing new. The accusations of Diddy ordering a hit on Tupac, I made a documentary on that a long time ago. That's old. There's nothing new about that. That's been around since 2000 and I want to say 18. So it's been a long time that's been out there. The accusations of, I don't know, like there's stuff that's on there that I've already, like the stomping of the whole incident that happened with the college campus or whatever, that in 1991, that's been known. A lot of this stuff, man, has already been known. It's nothing that's new. These are lawsuits that have been out there already. These are lawsuits that with Kirk Burroughs have happened in 2003. Like, this is just the only thing that is new in this documentary that made me go, whoa, is the never before seen footage of him before he gets locked up. That's it. Everything else I already knew. Is just packaged in a different way. So I really don't see where they have a case of we're going to sue for defamation, we're going to sue for this, for accusations. When, if you say, hey, you're accusing me of killing Tupac. Well, Keefe D's locked up in there. He's the one that said in recorded police tapes that, hey, you're the one that offered $1 million hit. So it's not coming from the Netflix documentary. It's coming from Keefe D himself. I can't remember in the documentary what other accusations. Him slapping his mom. I mean, that's just a childhood friend that said, hey, that's what happened. I mean, I don't know if you can sue for that. I mean, because he's a public figure. So to a certain extent, public figures can have things said about them to the point where they can't sue. Unless it's like really, really outlandish. We're talking like if they had somebody on there like, what's that fucking girl that always has these wild ass Jaguar White, I think her name is. Jaguar White. I think her name is. I don't know exactly. Yeah, she's that lady's a fucking psychopath. Like she has these weirdest conspiracy theories. She's like just if they would have had her on there, I'd have been like, yeah, they're getting sued. They're getting sued the fuck out of like because she just has the most wildest takes with no proof, just straight up trying to connect some weird dots that don't make any sense. There's nothing that I've seen that she said that's true. Or that like later on became true. I don't know. Maybe she could be ahead of her time, and 10 years from now, a lot of what she said is true. That could be true. So I'm not completely dismissing her. But right now, she's crazy. So if they would have had her on there, I would have been like, all right, yeah, you're getting sued the fuck out of. Because I remember Piers Morgan had her on his show. She made some accusation, I think about Jay-Z or something like that. And Jay-Z's lawyers were on her ass. Like, why are you putting this woman on a major platform like this and having her say this dumb shit because it's not true. So, it's let's just say Netflix knows what they're doing. They're not just going to put out a documentary and make sure that they're not going to get sued from the situation, but we'll see what happens, man. $1 billion lawsuit is crazy. Continuing on with Diddy, he has been hit with more accusations. So as this documentary comes out, there's been a lot more people coming forward. And actually 50 himself in a recent interview said that there's been more people reaching out to tell their story and to add more information. I don't think there's going to be a part 2 of the docuseries where they add more parts. I don't think so. 50 said there is some footage that they didn't release at all, and he's like, I might just put it up on YouTube. I don't know how if he's just being funny or who knows, but yeah, there's always pieces of stuff. Like for my Give It Should I Try documentary, there's still so much footage. I mean, I got probably. Now that I put out the Shah one in the full on that, I only clipped a little bit of the Shah stuff, and I wanted to keep it for the 25-year anniversary if I end up doing that. So the Shah one's 3 hours long. Red Spider's probably 2 hours long. Rockwilder's 2 hours long. Everybody's at least 2 hours long of an interview. On top of that, there's a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. There's a bunch of interviews there's 2 interviews that I actually didn't put in the documentary because of other things. So when it comes to these documentaries and stuff, you get a lot of there's footage that just wasn't used. So, I want to be surprised if down the line there is something that comes out more. But let's go over this article. Diddy's ex-bodyguard Gene Deal continues to talk about his former boss, and recently he made some disturbing allegations about his relationship with Danity Kane. During an interview with The Art of Dialogue posted this week, he alleged that he once heard the Bad Boy founder vow to drug members of the group. This shit is so crazy because I heard him say it, but to know that he was doing it, it's a whole other fucking thing, he explained. He said it, I'm gonna drug them out and pimp them out to my guys. They keep fucking with me. And he was talking about Danity Kane as a group. He didn't single out any one of them, but to hear that he did it, that shit is crazy to me. So, I mean, Art of Dialogue as well. They've had a lot of interviews that that are basically hit pieces on Diddy. So, like, really, when you look at it, like, these are the platforms that Diddy should be going after. The platforms that are like voicing these things. For me personally, I would never, I mean, I'm not going to say never, but I would be very cautious featuring interviews like this of somebody making these wild accusations, because that's how you get sued, without really any proof or, just somebody talking. But then again, there is the fine line, like I said, of being a public figure where people can talk about you to a certain extent. You can't really sue for defamation because you become public property. I know that sounds weird, right? Public figure, public property, but yeah, you become basically somebody that most people can talk about. Unless you're like constantly just spewing bad information, like Cardi B suing Tasha K, like unless you're constantly spewing bad information, then it's a different story. And Tasha K actually posted, at least her platform posted, the clip of me talking about 50 threatening Diddy with the flowers thing. And it's funny because I've actually talked shit a little bit about Tasha K, so I don't know. But we'll see what happens with this, but there's more accusations, man. Of course, there's going to be accusations coming out, but I'm pretty sure he's probably going to hit with more lawsuits too. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. Continuing on, Daz Dillinger has decided to reveal his real issue with Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Let's go over the article. Daz Dillinger elaborated on his complaints about Snoop Dogg and Death Row Records in a new video on social media. In doing so, he explained that his reason for going after his cousin and the record label isn't due to money. Instead, he says he just wants the rights to his music, which kind of has to do with money, but I get the point. Damn, bro, that's a lot. So let's play this actual clip.
One thing, too, I be hearing people say, since Snoop got Death Row, they didn't try to get no royalties and stuff before then. I'm the only nigga that always try to get royalty, nigga. I've been on their ass ever since, nigga. E1, Koch, everybody. Everybody gonna get it. You hanging with them, it's just like in the street. You hanging with them niggas and they get shot, you gonna get shot too. So, hey, guilty by association. I'm coming to get mine, man. Like I said before, fuck that money. I don't want the money. I just want the rights. Because when you get the rights, the money comes. So, you know what I'm saying? Keep that money. I don't give a fuck about that money. I got money. I got money. I got money. I got the money. Motherfucking bitch. You little hoe. Yeah. You know what it is.
And there you have it, man. I don't know, like, if because when I reported on this, I was seeing a lot of interesting responses and comments that this is all made up. This is just for publicity, for Death Row Records, for all this other stuff. I don't know, man. They've been going back and forth about this for so long. And then some people are saying it's just family disputes. I have no idea, but that's the update with it. Daz Dillinger is still keeping his foot on Snoop Dogg's neck for the rights to his music. If any of this is true on Daz's side, then please, Snoop Dogg, please just give him the rights to his music, or at least negotiate a deal where he owns majority of the rights. Because I know labels in general, they just don't give 100% rights unless the time, I think it's like 26 years or 28 years, then the rights go right back to you after a certain amount of time with labels. But yeah, just square this away and make this good, because Daz doesn't seem like he's stopping with this stuff. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. Dame Dash is facing more problems despite filing bankruptcy. It looks like that money is still going to be collected. Dame Dash has a long way to go before he emerges from his crippling debts. However, despite his sobering bankruptcy filing this September, that doesn't mean that number can't increase. According to an exclusive report, lawyer Christopher Brown issued a recent complaint at Florida's bankruptcy court. He states that Chapter 7 filing from Dame Dash cannot simply wipe away $4.8 million in court-ordered judgments. Christopher Brown points to two instances, with one being a 2022 verdict that awarded $823,000 to Dear Frank's director, Josh Weber. But remember, that saw a $40 million bump after Dame Dash derailed A Fast Life, a film that Weber was set to direct. He made some harmful comments about him on the Earn Your Leisure podcast. The Rockefeller co-founder thinks his bankruptcy will allow for this to pass. All people that you owe money to, they're not allowed to sue you anymore. They're not allowed to sue you for a certain period of time because there's nothing to collect. This dude, Chris Brown, he muddies the waters a lot because he's a lawyer and he's intelligent. I'm not going to take that from him, but I think he's dumb because he just wasted a lot of time. Allegedly, I don't want to catch another lawsuit, even though I can't get sued. I got PTSD, I think. He delivered those comments on Art of Dialogue a couple months ago. However, with Brown's filing, he's arguing that Dash's past comments about Weber are so destructive and intentional, and that bankruptcy bars the discharge of debts arising from willful injury. Overall, Dame Dash is still nowhere near out of the woods yet, but this move by Brown ensures that this adroitous road to financial recovery will be even more challenging. The executive already has $25 million in debt stemming from his unpaid taxes, child support, and legal judgments. Dame. You know, $25 million in debt, filed bankruptcy, and still dealing with money issues. I don't want to make fun of somebody when they're down or anything like that because anybody can be put in this situation. But I can see why Dame got in the position he's at in life right now, because the first response from Dame when it comes to this Diddy Netflix documentary is, why is a black man kicking another black man down? That's the first thing you see. I think Dame Dash was the one to invent the word culture vulture because he just sees skin color and that's it. He doesn't see the individual for how bad they are. Like when Harvey Weinstein was getting attacked by every white person, black person, whoever, for being a piece of shit, you didn't see white people say, "Oh, man, you're white. Why are you kicking another white man down?" That's crazy. That's a crazy take. Like, look at Diddy. Look what he's accused of. Look at the shit he at least did to Cassie on video. And somehow, Dame, that's the conclusion you come with, is skin color. And to me, that makes it very clear in business, this guy moved a certain way where he just divided people and didn't see the person for what they are. He just judged them maybe off skin color, maybe off of who knows what, maybe off of money, maybe off of this, that. I don't know. But it makes sense as to why Jay-Z just got rid of him, split ways from him, because he's clearly not a smart businessman. Anybody who has to file bankruptcy to this extent, and it's not Chapter 11, this is Chapter 7, I think he filed. I could be wrong on that. I want to say exactly. Let me see what chapter did Dame Dash file bankruptcy in. So yeah, I was right. Chapter 7, which means you're actually broke. Chapter 11 means you're just structuring your finances, and that you're going to pay less of what you owe in debt. But Chapter 7 means you're legitimately broke. You have no money. And he said that, I funnel the money here and there and blah blah blah, and it's through my companies and whatever the case may be, right? Regardless, you're in debt $25 million. There's no, I'm smart for doing that. No, you're a fucking moron. It's really that simple, And anybody trying to say, this and that, and no, there's no if and that. I'm not saying filing bankruptcy is a bad thing, right? It's smart to file bankruptcy so you don't get sued more. But when you're on here talking like you're a self-made boss, you're all this, everything I do is smart and everything I do is proper, and you're struggling this bad, just goes to show you're not actually doing what you're doing. But that's my take on Dame Dash. Hopefully he gets out of these situations, though. I don't like to see anyone down in these type of situations unless they deserve it. And Diddy is somebody who deserves to be kicked while he's down because of all the bullshit he's put. Just Cassie, beating the shit out of Cassie on video should have everybody, period, having no way of siding with Diddy. There should be nobody, not a single person in the music industry, anybody. But somehow, and that's crazy as 50 pointed this out because I didn't even really notice until 50 actually said it. Nobody in the music industry is calling Diddy out. Nobody. I haven't seen Fat Joe. I'm just going to throw random names out here. I'm just naming random names. Fat Joe, Jadakiss, who have their own platform. Joe Budden avoided it. Nori from Drink Champs avoided it. I haven't seen him say shit. Basically, anybody with a media platform in hip-hop that is a rapper or has some type of entertainment industry avoided it, didn't say shit about it. Just completely ducked it. That's crazy. How is that not crazy to you guys? How is that not what the fuck? Is anybody going to say anything? It took 50 having to do that. And Eminem. Eminem's actually somebody who's actually spoke, against Diddy quite a few times. But yeah, I'm going to get more into the details of the whole, what Ja Rule says and all this crazy stuff down the line on this podcast. But yeah, it's just wild. So we'll see what happens with Dame Dash. But Dame, terrible way of looking at things, man. If you look at it from a way of a black man kicking another black man down, you're clearly lost. Like, you're so far into, I don't know if that's wokeism. I don't know what the fuck that is. Delusionality, if that's not even a word, but you're just very delusional. If that's the way you see things. When Harvey Weinstein, when everybody was literally piling on Harvey Weinstein, everybody, every race, nobody, I heard not a single person say, oh, a white guy at least say, oh, another white guy, you shouldn't be piling on. That's a white guy kicking another white guy down. It's not what you're supposed to be doing. Nobody said that. We all in unison agreed, hey, this guy's a piece of shit. He does bad shit to women. He rapes them. He forces them to do things they shouldn't do. And same with Jeffrey Epstein. Same with any white guy that's been accused of this type of stuff. There hasn't been anybody that said, he's white. You shouldn't kick another white person down. It makes no sense. Like, what the fuck? That's such a immature mentality. It is like beyond immature. That's the dumbest mentality you could have. I just don't understand. I don't understand that mentality. Yeah, unfortunately, there are some people like that who walk around with that type of mentality. And Dame Dash is one of them, clear as day. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. Like I said, I don't wish him to, be down on anything. I hope he actually bounces back and actually does well. Because, it doesn't make sense. He's not the one that has, at least from what I know, he hasn't abused anybody or done bad shit to women. So he doesn't deserve this. I don't know what outside of he's done out of this, but, hopefully he bounces back. But we'll see moving forward. The motherfucking Game. He's out here doing more interviews. It seems like he's on a promo run. And he appeared on Club Shay Shay and said something that got a lot of people talking. Even Sean Money XL commented on this. And I actually texted him about it. I was like, interesting comment. Let me just play the clip, because other than that, there's nothing more I can say, and then I'll talk about it after.
You still the best rapper from Compton?
I'm definitely the best rapper from Compton.
Definitely?
Definitely.
Who's the best rapper on the West Coast today?
Game.
Damn, that was quick.
Yeah, it ain't. That's it.
Ain't nobody getting at you?
Can't nobody out-rap me, man. And anybody that knows will know. Because people can't, even if you are, like, no one can do what I can do. Like, no one has my skill set. Because not only do I have the ability to wrap circles around people, I'm also with all the bullshit too, if it came down to that. So it's like I'm the best rapper in this town.
Damn, Game. I mean, the OG, man, there's some OGs, some heavyweights. I mean, Cube, Snoop.
I love Cube, but Cube can't out-rap me. I love Cube. And by the way, the reason that Cube can't out-rap me is because I used Cube's legacy to help me sharpen. Right. I use Snoop's legacy to help me sharpen myself. I use Dr. Dre, NWA. So it's like those guys came before me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Kobe, right? Kobe watched Mike growing up.
For sure,
right?
Absolutely.
But
you see the way he walked? You see the way he chewed that gum?
Okay.
He got the wristband on his elbow?
Now, Mike, in Kobe's prime, Mike couldn't hold Kobe.
No.
But that's because he came before him and he done with it. Right. I'm not saying if I was in 1992 with Cube might be able to, go crazy.
Right.
But right now, like, nah, it's not a rapper on the West that's better than me.
All right, so this has a lot of conversation, and mainly the conversation is about Kendrick Lamar or the Game. That's what this conversation is about. The second Game said he's the best Compton rapper and he's the best on the West Coast. Immediately people are saying Kendrick. Nobody else mentioning any other artists, at least in the comments from what I saw. There could have been other artists mentioned. But in the interview, Shannon mentioned, Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg, they're a lot older artists. I don't, personally, in my opinion, I don't think Ice Cube or Snoop Dogg have bars remotely close to Game. Game is let me make this very clear. Game is a very, very good rapper. And he'll wrap circles around a lot of people. Better than Kendrick Lamar. I don't know, man. Kendrick is more of an artist. He can actually make great records too, and he can rap. That's the problem. He's like an Eminem. Eminem can make great records and he can rap his ass off. Game can't make great songs like hits, but he can rap his ass off. So maybe Game's because his focus on mainly on bars instead of making great songs, maybe he is the better rapper. But man, Kendrick is, especially what he just did to Drake. I know Game is like, I'm with the shit too, but if Kendrick and Game go at it, that's a very, very close one to me, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I love both of them when it comes to rapping. Man, it'll be very hard for me. I don't know, man. I just after what Kendrick did to Drake, I'd probably give it to Kendrick, just slightly, because Game, yeah, he had 300 bars and all this shit, but has he really destroyed a career, or like not even destroyed? Let me erase that. Destroyed career. That's, you can't gauge that on if you want, but I don't think he's really like I don't know. Because he hasn't had. Well, he actually has. I'm tripping right now. Because he had battles with Joe Budden. He's had battles with Meek Mill. Not really like back and forth like that, but 50 didn't really entertain Game that much either. A lot of people mention the 50 and Game beef, but when you actually look at I made a video about it, breaking it down. 50 didn't really respond on tracks, man. It was probably one track like fully dedicated to Game, and it was that song, I might be more crazy, fuck 50, fuck Dre, fucking WA, I'm Hurricane Game. And this guy changed. I brought the West back. And what about Snoop? Snoop shit ain't all that. Yeah, so that record, I'm forgetting the title of that song, which is crazy on my end because I usually know every fucking 50 record. But yeah, that song, the song's called Game Over, I think, or some shit. I don't know, man. Let me actually figure out the title of this track. I'm tripping right now. I'm not rich, I'm still lying. It's 50 Cent star in the Game. Yeah, so that I don't know how the fuck, because I have it titled differently on my phone because I downloaded a mixtape. So the titles, 50's records, like mixtape records, some have different titles, but they're the same song. So yeah, Not Rich, Still Lying. It's 50 Cent star in the Game. It's autobiographical. Enjoy yourselves. I think that's what he says on there, or some shit. But yeah, somehow I made this about 50. I need to stop doing this on the podcast. I apologize. But yeah, I give it to Kendrick a little bit, but slightly. But yeah, Game is wilding. I get he's supposed to say that because he's supposed to have confidence in himself. I get that, but come on, man. Let's not get too carried away and say you're the best. Let me actually show you guys what Sha Money commented. Sha Money said Kendrick is the best, and his music will last forever with real things being said, not just name calling. Hater or love it, pun intended. Your hand delivered best hit. So Shaw's kind of rubbing it in Game's face that, hey, I'm the one that hand delivered your biggest hit record, motherfucker. That shit just hit 1 billion streams. If it wasn't for me hand delivering that shit, you probably wouldn't have that record. But Red Rose, White Ceilings. Shaw's got a point, man. Kendrick makes like music that is like bodies of work. Kendrick makes better bodies of work. Not to say that Game doesn't have storytelling on his tracks. Like Doctor's Advocate is a fucking great storytelling album, man. There's a lot of records on there that I fucking love. And Game has those tracks, but Kendrick is just next fucking level with it, man. Like Kendrick is a monster with it. And I think Game knows what he's doing when he says this because he wants to poke Kendrick and he wants a battle. Game is fiending for a battle. When Eminem didn't respond to him, when Rick Ross didn't respond to him because he did diss Rick Ross during the whole Drake and Kendrick battle, now he's looking to try to get Kendrick to respond to him. And if Kendrick doesn't respond to him, then he's probably going to go to the next person because Game just wants to battle rap. Game has been fiending for this for a minute, and Game is about the shit when it comes to the rapping. So, yeah, I don't know, man. You guys, whatever you guys have on your take on it, my take is Kendrick is slightly better. I don't think Kendrick washes the game when it comes to rapping because, listen, man, I'm the biggest 50 Cent fan ever, but, hey, I'm not blinded. Game can rap. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you're just saying Game can't rap, you're definitely just a hater. Game can rap, but can he rap better than Kendrick? On my end, no. Currently, if you'd have asked me this probably in 2012, I would have said, Kendrick's cool, but Game's better at rapping. That's what I would have said. But as the years have gone on, Kendrick's catalog has come out, and recently we did it to Drake. I give it to Kendrick. But yeah, that's my take on it. So this is old news. I mean, I heard about this a long time ago, but now it's kind of resurfaced. I guess the story went over a lot of people's heads. And that's the interesting part is a lot of stories, they're probably big in 2014, and then they come back another like 10 years later, and then people talk about it again. But this, I already heard this like in 2014, 15 when they got asked about this. But Method Man says Drake sent him and the rest of the Wu-Tang Clan his Nothing Was the Same song, Wu-Tang Forever. There's supposed to be a remix to it before its release in 2013, and asked them to appear on it. He explained the group's decision to turn down the opportunity during a recent appearance on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast with Carmelo Anthony. In doing so, he explained the move was not out of any lack of respect for Drake. So let's actually play this and see what that says.
Recently turned anniversary was Nothing Was the Same by Drake. And on that album, they had Wu-Tang Forever, right? That's a song that a lot of people have debated about for a long time. There was rumors there was a Wu-Tang version with all you guys on it. We never really got your reaction when you first heard that record. And, you know.
I like Drake.
Yeah.
You know, I like Drake. I think he's a dope artist. He puts out some great music, obviously, or else he wouldn't be as big as he is. But when he sent the record, we were overseas. He did send the record. And, you know, certain brothers was trying to write to it and shit. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't like it. I didn't like I was like, what does this have to do with Wu-Tang Forever? And I'm not questioning his artistic ability or anything. I'm just saying, for my taste, I was more or less like, I'm not getting on that.
Feels like a lot of artists at that, especially at that time, it wouldn't, you know, turn down the opportunity to be on a record that big.
Well, no one knew it was going to be that big. No one knew it was going to be that big. I mean, as far as a big artist, you know, when you become jaded when you've been in the business for a long time. So
especially
for me,
y'all.
Right. So for me, it's like big artists and
if I'm not feeling it, I'm just not going to do it. Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, sir.
And there you have it. This is the story that I've heard, you know, when they, like in 2015, when they actually got asked about the record, or 2013. I don't remember when, but they basically just weren't feeling the record. He said some people were trying to write to it. Method Man just straight up said, I don't like the record. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is certain, and I like artists who are honest and say, hey, appreciate you sending this song, but this ain't the one for me. We'll figure out something else. Because there are some times where artists get on certain tracks, they're too scared, or they think it's probably the right record, and it just turns out horrible, where like we don't need that feature on this track. It would be better if you were just solo on this track, or if you had somebody else. You know, and I hate that. And one thing that I hate is when a really good beat gets to a whack artist. Like, there's so many moments where I'm like, dude, this beat would be so much better. Like, the first one that comes in my mind, and no disrespect to Jaquan. Jaquan's the guy who made the song Tipsy, but he has a record on his debut album. Let me see what it's called, man. I think it's called Hood Hop, which is the title track to the album. And the beat is fucking insane, but he just doesn't really do his I think at least his part on this. Like, let me play some of the track for you guys. Keep it dirty. So I'm not saying he did a bad job like that, but that beat is fucking insane. Like, imagine DMX with that beat. And he's like going in, I'll fuck you up, blah, blah, blah. Like, that shit would be, or Game, or like a voice that's aggressive like that on that type of beat. It would have been way better. Way better. But that's just like a, you know, I'm not saying that, like, he did a good job on the track. There's no like dissing or disrespect. He did a good job, but there would have been artists that would have done better jobs. And I hate those when, like, there's certain beats where you can hear certain artists and it just doesn't, that artist doesn't do it justice. You know, that happens. But yeah, this is just Wu-Tang saying, hey, I heard this record, didn't like it. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. So pretty cool that this story has resurfaced again. But yeah, it seems like 50 Cent has set his sights on someone new after the Diddy Netflix documentary. If you aren't aware, 50 Cent has been getting insane feedback from the Netflix documentary he made on Diddy. Sean Combs' The Reckoning is what it's called, and it's #1 all over Netflix, beating even Stranger Things. Diddy himself has responded to it, saying the stories are false, of course, denying everything, and even trying to do a cease and desist on the Netflix documentary. And after this Diddy documentary, a lot of people have been wondering who's the next person that deserves to get exposed. And Jay-Z is the one that a lot of people are pointing their finger at. And the reason why Jay-Z has been getting a lot of this type of backlash is because Jay-Z was really close to Diddy. At one point, Diddy was even calling him his brother, and that Jay-Z's the only one that can call him his real name, Sean, besides his mother.
Who is Sean approved from the world of entertainment? There's only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person that
outside of family.
That should be outside of my mother.
Okay,
That should be calling me. Yeah, they should be calling me Sean.
So the relationship has always been close. They had those parties every single year. I think the Rock Nation brunch is what they're called. And Diddy was obviously the right-hand guy next to him at those parties. So a lot of people have this speculation that if Diddy did all that stuff and Jay-Z was that close to Diddy, that maybe there's something on Jay-Z's side that has been going on behind the scenes. Now, there hasn't been any solid proof yet, but Nicki Minaj has been going at Jay-Z for quite some time, talking about Jay-Z is manipulative and he steals and he's been pushing a narrative and that Rock Nation has control and power over a lot of things. And I can kind of understand where she's coming from to a certain extent. We got to remember when Jay-Z went up on the Grammy stage and said, Beyonce never won Album of the Year and complained about that. Literally the following year, Beyonce wins Album of the Year, which is just something like, if that doesn't show you that there is some power going on there, that there is something behind the scenes that Jay-Z controls, it's clear as day that it's all politics on who wins Grammys, who gets the better light and things. So that kind of opened my eyes, as to Rock Nation's power and how they manipulate things in the media. I'll never forget Jay-Z would get this like special treatment all the time when it comes to the media. I mean, Hot 97, when they interviewed Jay-Z, they literally rolled out a red carpet. They never did that for any other artist. So Jay-Z's always had this kind of special treatment when it came to things. But now the question is Jay-Z involved in crazier things? I mean, there's been a lot of speculation in a lot of different ways. And people are pointing their attention towards 50 Cent wanting him to do a Jay-Z documentary. And it looks like he might actually do it because on Instagram, he posted a drawing of Jay-Z that kind of makes fun of his looks. And he posted that photo and he said this in the caption, "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." Basically making a joke, because obviously he posted it on his social media. But, and here's the interesting but in this, is someone commented on the post and the comment got liked by 50 Cent. And this is the comment. It's from Dom KMDA. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Dom Kanmada. He commented saying, "My only question, he's next, isn't he?" And 50 ended up liking that comment. And here's the thing. I actually saw this on Twitter and X, whatever, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to confirm, is this real? Because a lot of people Photoshop these type of things just to create drama and create this speculation. So I actually DM'd the guy himself and I showed him the photo and I asked him, "Hey, is this a real photo? Did 50 like your comment?" He said, "Hey, yes, he did." And I was like, perfect. Thank you for confirming. Thought it was Photoshopped. Well, appreciate the response. And he said, "I was surprised as well. Didn't see that coming." So shout out to him for, responding to my DM and confirming that, the comment actually got liked by 50 because, a lot of people Photoshop and spread narratives. So me being the proper journalist, or whatever you want to call me, news reporter, I, wanted to go get to the source and see if it was actually real. There's also something that's very interesting that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's the documentary coming out on December 2nd. That Diddy documentary coming out on that date, literally 2 days later, you have Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, which to me sends a subliminal message to Jay-Z that you're next. So that's crazy. That just, to me, shows that 50 is potentially going to work on something going at Jay-Z, and he might get Nicki Minaj involved because Nicki Minaj has a huge issue with Jay-Z with a lot of things, and I don't even know the full details of that because she's gone at Jay-Z for quite some time now. And the interesting thing is 50 Cent and Jay-Z's relationship have been like good and then bad, good and then bad. The same thing with Diddy, right? Where they've been cool for a little bit and then they have beef and issues. And with Jay-Z, it all started with How to Rob, where 50 went at Jay-Z on that track, and then Jay-Z responded with, "I'm all about $1 with the 50 cents. And then 50 responded with "Be a Gentleman," and then Jay-Z never responded to that. And then they eventually did business with the Reebok shoe deal, S. Carter's and G-Unit sneakers. And then, they would have back and forth. I mean, I covered this whole thing in my 50 Cent versus Jay-Z What Happened documentary where I go over their whole beef. So check that out if you haven't seen it. And the most recent thing that caused a lot of tension was the Super Bowl. When Dr. Dre had the Super Bowl show, Eminem wanted 50 Cent to be a part of the Super Bowl. And Jay-Z said he didn't want that to happen. He didn't want 50 there. And it was actually Nori from Drink Champs that confirmed that it was Eminem that pushed for 50 Cent to be there, and that Eminem wouldn't be a part of the show unless 50 was involved. And then Jay-Z was like, fine, the white boy, asked for 50, we're going to make it happen, I guess. So basically Jay-Z didn't want him at the show, which is crazy. So they've always had a back and forth. There's always had, kind of like a frenemies approach. But more recently, 50's just going in on Jay-Z a lot more. Even he jokingly said that Jay-Z responded to his Diddy documentary and thanked him for not being in the documentary, which, 50 is trolling. I highly doubt Jay-Z actually did that. The question here is, will there be a lot of people that come forward to be a part of the Jay-Z documentary with actual facts and information? I think 50's not going to work on it unless there is like massive lawsuits that start to come and, the topic is brought more to light where a lot more people are paying attention to it, because right now there is just a lot of speculation. Besides Nicki Minaj, I mean, there are people here and there that say things about Jay-Z, but a lot of them don't have solid proof, right? It's just a lot of conspiracy theories. At least that's what I've seen. I haven't like deep dived into it to really speak on it and say, oh, this is solid proof Jay-Z has done X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be. But it'll be interesting just to, see if something comes to light down the line. I mean, 50 has always had competition with Diddy and Jay-Z in terms of who's the New York king and, who's dominating hip hop and all that. So 50's already gotten, Diddy out of the way. And why wouldn't he set his sights on Jay-Z? That's kind of, he's learned the laws of the 48 laws of power, destroy your enemy completely. And that's what he's always stood on, even with Ja Rule and whoever he's gone against, at least that he hasn't squashed the beef with. He squashed the beef with Nas and Fat Joe and so on and so forth. But with Jay-Z, he's always had his foot on his neck for, lots of different reasons. One of the more interesting things is the whole Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez thing, that Roc Nation had a part in, making sure that Tory Lanez got locked up and so on and so forth. That's been a huge conspiracy theory that Roc Nation, has this huge control over people. And I can kind of see where it comes from, because there's a lot of different things that I've seen online where if Jay-Z says something, it goes that way, no matter what. And there was a lot of, what was interesting? There was a lot of talk on social media about Jay-Z's music career and how it's been overinflated as like the greatest rap career ever. And a lot of people were going against that on X specifically and just clowning Jay-Z's career and saying that, he's not as big as people say he is and so on and so forth. And what was interesting is right as that conversation was happening, all of a sudden media outlets were posting, oh, Jay-Z's legendary career, how Jay-Z impacted this and that. It was just very weird timing. It's like all of a sudden, all these posts started coming out, praising Jay-Z's career, which got you, thinking. Because to me, the moment the Grammys thing happened and Jay-Z said, why don't you guys ever give Beyonce Album of the Year? And then the following year she gets it. It's like, dude, come on, guys. Like, let's question some of what's going on. If somebody complains about something, the next year they adjust it and actually give it to that person for that complaint. You got to think about this and be like, what's going on here? I don't think they ever messed up Beyonce's career for her not getting Album of the Year. Like Jay-Z and Beyonce have gotten an insane amount of awards, like way above everybody else. So they've already, basically got on their knees and given praise to them more than enough. So for Jay-Z complaining about Album of the Year, it's like, come on, man. What else? Like, you want everything. You want the cake and eat it too. How many awards do you want? It's kind of insane. But that just kind of opened my eyes even more, that I was like, okay, yeah, there is something going on where Roc Nation runs a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff on who actually gets awards and who doesn't. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is conspiracy theory, speculation. Some areas, though, there is smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. But a lot of it, there really isn't, anything to tie the pieces together. It's just a lot of people talking online, and you need solid proof with a lot of this stuff. I don't just go on and accuse people of certain things without having solid proof. I never would, because I would never want something to do that to me. It just doesn't make any sense. But unfortunately, a lot of people and these outlets, they'll do clickbaity stuff to try to, get people to spin certain narratives. But that's my take on it. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think 50 will develop a Jay-Z documentary down the line that actually puts a lot of his, whatever he's gotten in the past to light? And do you guys think it will actually impact Jay-Z's career? Who knows what will happen down the line, but we'll see. And, 50's got his trolling way, so you never know with him. You never know if it's serious or not, or if he's just joking. But we'll see what happens down the line. I think there will be something coming because there's a lot of stuff brewing online when it comes to Jay-Z, and it's only a matter of time before, you know, somebody comes out and says, hey, this guy did this guy did that to me. I don't know. I'm not saying he did or did not, but we'll see what happens down the line. I want to break down this 50 Cent versus Marlon Wayans back and forth that's going on, because a lot of people seem to be confused of what's happening because they're just going back and forth with each other. And obviously 50's his own comedian and the Marlon's obviously a comedian. So there's a lot of back and forth, and there is some AI involved. So I want to clarify, you know, some of the stuff that's being posted is AI to mislead people, to troll. And that's the problem today's time, is AI is going to cause a lot of problems as the years go down the line, because we're going to get a lot of misinformation. So first, let me break down how this started and then where it's going. So Marlon Wayans decided to do a media run mainly on Big Boy's platform and the Real 92.3 LA with the Ted Cruz show. And on both those shows, he got asked about the Diddy documentary that 50 Cent executive produced. And a lot of people clipped this or made headlines to make it seem like Marlon Wayans was like disrespecting 50 and that he was siding 100% with Diddy. But if you actually watch the full clip, that's not what he did. So I'm going to play the clip that went most viral, which is from the Ted Cruz show, and the full context of the clip.
Can't wait. Are you going to watch the Diddy documentary?
Eventually, but you know, I look, man, I'm not going to keep throwing the dude under the bus, man, and serving time in prison. You know, I know Diddy, I know his kids, you know, it must be hard for them. You know what I mean? At a point, you know what I'm saying? Like on a human level, I just go, all right, man, we did it. I'm Diddy'd out. We Diddy'd it. We Diddy'd it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, look, how much more he's already incarcerated. How much further under the bus do you throw, man? Right now, I think it's
closer to it than people realize, I think.
And we ainain't that close.
Not close to the camera.
We ain't baby all close. But yo, look, Puff is
Nah. You working with Pac?
Puff for 30 years.
You saw Big before he passed?
Yeah.
Bro, so you're close. And Jack, what were you saying?
And I went to college with Puff.
Hang on. What were you saying?
I know Diddy when he was Puffy.
Okay.
In the documentary, there was insinuations of, you know, that Diddy possibly had something to do with both Tupac and Biggie. And, you know.
Who's telling the story, right? You can skew.
People very close to the situation.
But you can create any narrative as a producer and as a director and as a storyteller. I can create a narrative. I could be like, you know what?
You have.
I could create a narrative.
Well, we see it all the time on reality shows. Like,
reality shows. You write a narrative. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's true. I can get interviews. I can do this. I can get footage, and I could make you think this about that person.
Nah, for sure, yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So for me, you know, I think, look, 50 and Puff have a long-term beef. It's personal. It's between.
People are saying 50's wrong for doing it, but 50's right for doing it. It's divided.
It's between him and Puff, and before it's between him and Puff, it's between both of them and God. Just the way Puff is down on his luck, and 50's kicking a man when he's down.
God is gonna.
If 50 ever luck turn up on 50, you know that you got to be careful what you put out. There's a karma to every action that you do.
You think we'll see that day?
Huh?
You think we'll see that day?
I don't think 50 does dumb stuff. You know, he's very smart, you know, in terms of his business. I think he already had his.
I think we already would have saw it.
He got shot 9 times. He paid his debt early. So that's why he's like, F it. But, you know, look, this is between him and Puff, and honestly, it's between both of them and God.
Yeah.
So, you know, only God can judge, and both of them people have time to sit with God and talk about and through everything. And right now is Puff's time to sit there and have a conversation, a much needed conversation with God. And, you know, like I said, I know his kids, I know his family, I know 50.
As you can see in that clip, you can understand why certain people said that Marlon was defending Diddy a lot, and why defend this guy, you know, like what's the reasoning behind that. And, you know, he starts out by saying, why are you kicking a man down? We should have more sympathy, you know, for someone, because he has a family and kids. Yeah, but, you know, to a certain extent, you don't have that sympathy, because this guy is literally seen on video beating Cassie, like stomping her out. If all other stuff is allegations, right, and you just don't want to believe that stuff, at least you can see this guy's, you know, a domestic violence. He's at least done domestic violence. And there's been a lot of women that said he's done this. So that's the one that was caught on video. Mind you, this is in a public hallway of a hotel he did this. So this isn't like in a private room. Like he is so aggressive and confident that he decided to do that in a public hotel lobby, which is insane. So when Marlon's talking about kicking a man down and all this stuff, like if it's a bad person, yes, you kick that person down, you get him out the way. But then he goes on to say, if 50 is down on his luck, karma's going to come back to him. I mean, yeah, 50's done bad things where if I see him on video abusing a woman, or if I see him doing some crazy stuff, I don't know, he shoots somebody in the face, let's just say, which Diddy has actually been accused of at a certain point in 1999, then yeah, you can say this guy's a bad person. Like he deserves to be completely stomped out, kicked out, and never mentioned again, and never a part of any type of industry ever again. So that whole point of like, oh, we should have more sympathy, empathy for these people. Like, no, this is Harvey Weinstein. He got stomped, kicked out, and just everybody went out at him. So it's not about, entertainer or this or that. Like Marlon comes from a perspective of, I'm friends with this guy. That's why. I mean, he has a tweet. Literally, I found this tweet on X. We keep saying tweets, but I found this old tweet, and I wanted to see if it's real. From September 20th, 2009, he tweeted, been doing Diddy parties for 15 years, and I must say, you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Good times, people. So, the parties have this stigma of all the crazy stuff going on. So this guy's been friends with him. He said he even went to college with him. So he has a long history. He's obviously met Tupac and Biggie. He's been in this game for a while, just like Diddy has. But he has a more emotional connection with Diddy. So that's why he's saying what he's saying. And he's trying to skew this and make it seem like, oh, Diddy's a good person, man. You guys are just attacking him. Like it's a bad time to be attacking him. And he never even watched the documentary. If you actually watch the documentary, it's pretty fair and balanced. Because he says in the interview as well that they're probably skewing things because it comes from a certain motive from 50. And when you actually watch it, 50 didn't have no creative control over it. It was actually the director, Alex Stapleton, whatever her last name is. And she was the one that controlled everything. She's the one that reached out to everybody and made it happen. 50 just is the executive producer, which means he probably financed it. That's really about it. And maybe had a say in this and that. But really, for the most part, it was her that dealt with everything. And it was very well balanced. They made it very clear that, hey, Diddy's been charged of this specifically. He's never been charged of murdering Biggie or Tupac or doing any of these other things. He's been charged with this, and this, and that's it. Regardless, this is where, Marlon got the backlash. And then 50 responded to him on his Instagram page, and he posted a photo of him in the White Chicks movie. He said in the caption, "Keep my name out your mouth, boy." And after this, of course, Marlon went to his Instagram, and as a comedian, he started going at him. And the first thing he posted was AI made image saying 12 years a slave. And he said, "Now let's think about this 50" in the caption. And this is like, a play on, oh, you're always a slave for the white man or whatever the case may be, which is like, corny thing to say because, Harvey Weinstein got attacked. A lot of 50's actually repossessed a house of somebody that stole from him. And that's a white guy. Literally, he took his house. He said, no mercy on this guy. I'm taking everything he has. And that's a white person. So it's like the narrative that 50 only goes after black people when he tears down the black community is the most corniest thing I've ever heard in terms of an argument. And continuing on, then 50 responded with a video that was edited that was very interesting. And the caption said, "I'm number 1 in 49 countries and I want all the smoke, punk." So check out the video.
I never, those aren't the type of parties that I go to. I don't frequent those type of parties. And even if I go, like I said, been doing Diddy parties for 15 years. And I must say, you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Good times, people. I've never seen any of this. I'm like, when I hear about it, when did that happen?
And then Marlon responded, and he posted a video of him smoking a cigar and basically said, "I'm not bothered." In the caption, he said this: "Just enjoy my life and cigars, calm before the storm. For the record, I don't condone any abuse of women, period. Unlike some people who have a track record of domestic violence. I got 5 sisters and a mother I honor. I rep us always. Don't let anyone create narratives. Marlon Lamont Wayans is an exceptional man. Good day, Curtis."
Zero fucks. Good day.
And after posting this, you would think Marlon was done, right? Like he tapped out. But people in the comments were basically clowning him, saying, take your L and keep it moving. 50 owned you, right? Everybody in the comments was saying that. Now, as a comedian, that's not a thing that most comedians can accept. So he continued on. And this next post is what I'm talking about. It's fake AI to push a certain narrative. So it's a photo of 50 and Diddy in a hot tub together. But it's clearly AI. I mean, I've run into the AI system, clearly AI. And there's a lot of photos going around with 50 and Diddy, and people are pushing this narrative that they used to be friends and they used to hang out and stuff. And all of them are AI, like literally majority of them. I think one of them is where 50's on a chair, and it's actually at an award show. And like Diddy has his arm over him, and 50's kind of like holding his hand or like, tapping his hand to say what's up. That's a real photo. That you can find on Getty Images. You can actually look that up. That's a real photo, but there's nothing weird or awkward about that. So he posted this AI image. He said, just for the record, bro, let's correct the narratives, Curtis. Rub-a-dub-dub, stop. Which is clearly AI. And I want to be surprised because, like, at a certain extent, you have to be able to sue someone for posting fake images of you and pushing a certain narrative. And 50 did that with Joe Budden to a certain extent. And Joe Budden was like, yo, I'm going to sue because this is getting ridiculous. And it's all fun and games, but then when it gets to a certain extent of like accusations of hanging out with a guy who's abused all these people and did all these things, then it gets a little crazy, Then 50 responded to that and posted actual images of Marlon Wayans and a bunch of rainbow stuff in a tub with a bunch of rainbow balls. And he said, Diddy got this fool trying to get at me, LOL. No AI, that's your vibe, boy. Keep my name out your mouth. And then Marlon responds to that, and he posts a photo of 50 Cent in the Mini Men music video where his body's a little like shiny, whatever. And he says, where you get all the baby oil from, Curtis? Many men rub oil upon me. Go smoke on the cigar that he's trying to promote and chill, bro. And then Marlon posts another video, which didn't really make sense. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but he posts a video of 50 talking about, Diddy wanting to take him shopping. And then the video goes to the song Window Shopper, where 50's out with Mace hanging out. I don't know if Marlon thought that's Diddy in the video, or I don't know what the correlation on there. I know Mace was signed to Diddy at one point, but he posts that. And then in the caption says, some people just be lying. Come on, Curtis, stop. Which doesn't make sense to me on that end. But
said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me to take me shopping.
And then 50 responded and said, this punk blowing kisses to Diddy. And he says 50 Cent, action #1 channel, Netflix #1. But this video is clearly AI. It's Marlon Wayans blowing a kiss with a bunch of rainbow on the side of his face. And he transforms to like basically a white chick's girl. Then Marlon responds, and he posts a video basically saying, don't let people bully you, and that don't let the narratives fool you that I'm not defending Diddy. This is simply me just, responding to 50, and that I don't, condone whatever Diddy's been doing, blah, 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 blah. So watch the clip on that.
All right. So I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject, period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain, use your freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully you. Never. Don't let nobody bully you. You got me? Love. Now back to trolling this troll.
And then Marlon continues, and he posts a photo of 50 in a suit, and he says, Curtis, today we're going to focus on your ugly, where shall I start? So much ugly to choose from. It's a problem, sir. How are you ugly in a suit? You may want to lay off them roids, old smashing machine ass. That button is struggling to keep your fat ass head in the suit. One deep breath and pow, your buff ass popping out that shit like biscuits. Exhale, champ. Buddy, he rocking an Easter suit with a Halloween face. Everyone in the hood is scared of the bully except that little funny skinny dude. And then he posted one more thing and said, today was a good day. Wish the same for all of y'all, even the miserable. God first, Jesus second, smiles third. So that post to me just says that all the comments have gotten to him, that like nobody's really agreeing with Marlon Wayans. I mean, it's how is this not something that everybody should be championing for? Shutting down Diddy. Like, this guy is, even if you don't believe all the other accusations, right, of all other stuff that he was accused of possibly killing Pac, of, whatever, any incident he's been involved in, let's just say you don't believe that. The one thing that we had solid evidence of is he stomped out Cassie. He at least abused Cassie. That's like the least thing that he did. But he's probably abused multiple women. He's probably done other things to other people more than just abuse. So, all of that stuff is accusations, and there isn't 100% solid proof. But hey, there's been a lot of people that said a lot of things, and some of these narratives are matching up. So I don't understand how there's not more people in the music industry speaking up against Diddy. Like, why hasn't Jay-Z ever said anything? I know Jay-Z's pretty quiet in general, but hey, say, hey, I was connected to this guy. I have nothing to do with this guy. I don't condone any of that shit. Fuck him, basically. Marlon Wayans, he grew up around Diddy and all this stuff. Why is he so defensive and like what is going on with, there should be way more artists going against Diddy and talking bad about him because he did all this bad shit. But like 50 said, if he's not the one speaking up, if Eminem's not the one speaking out, if who else has gone against Diddy? There's probably been a few other people, but if those individuals don't actually speak out, then who does in hip hop? That means that we condone this stuff. And it has nothing to do with white or black, because Dame Dash has this dumb narrative of white, oh, you're a black guy tearing another black guy down. Dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because Harvey Weinstein, when he was getting attacked by a bunch of people, white, black, whoever, white people weren't saying, oh, you're tearing another white man down. It makes no sense. A bad person is a bad person. Doesn't matter their skin color. Doesn't matter their religion. Doesn't matter anything. A bad person is a bad person. And we know Diddy is a bad person. Clear as day. Now, Marlon Wayans did mention earlier about 50's accusations. Yes, 50 has some accusations, right? But that's the key word, accusations. I remember before the Diddy Cassie video came out, I would say constantly in my podcast, hey, let's see if there's any evidence. Let's see, before we jump the gun and call Diddy this monster and call Diddy all these things, let's see first. I always give the benefit of the doubt to everybody because accusations are just that. They're accusations. Anyone can make them. Unless you have solid proof, it doesn't really mean anything. So I was like, let's see. And then once the Cassie thing came out, I was like, yeah, Cassie detailed a lot. And I believe Cassie's story damn near 100%. There's really no reason not to. She was very detailed, and a lot of the evidence with the Molotov, the Kid Cudi thing, the car was burnt, like that story made sense completely. The abusing thing, she detailed the hotel incident. It's on video. So there's no reason to not believe her in what she said. With that being said, that's an interesting question, is why are all these celebrities not speaking out against Diddy when this was happening? When at least the Cassie video came out. At least I remember when the Cassie video came out, Diddy went on video and apologized. And I saw like the dumbest people commenting, only God can judge you. Only, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, there is no excuse for putting your hands on someone like that. There is no excuse. I don't care if you're drunk. I don't care what the person did to you. Unless the person killed one of your family members, I can understand you get mad. But if the person cheated on you, if you're drunk, whatever the excuse may be, that's no excuse to do it. It's that simple. And I was seeing comments still, people saying, oh, only God can judge you, all this. Like, no, we can judge somebody it's a clear bad thing to do. But that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. And this Marlon Wayans and 50 thing's probably going to go on for a while. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe Marlon changes his tone down the line when he actually sees the documentary and judges it properly. But who knows? Let's get into the Billboard Hot 100. And Mariah Carey is back at the #1 spot. This song is Never Going to Die. This is a legitimate money glitch for Mariah Carey. And it's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Back to #1 Christmas record. All these Christmas songs are money glitches for some of these artists who are probably dead and they have the states, collecting money like it's nothing. Last Christmas, Wham! Is #2. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, Brenda Lee, #3. Jingle Bell Rock, Bobby Helms, #4. Jingle Bell Rock. Golden Hunter X, number 5. The Fate of Ophelia, Taylor Swift, number 6. So that went down a lot. Finally out of the number 1 spot. Alex Warren, Ordinary, number 7. Santa Tell Me, Ariana Grande, number 8. The Christmas Song, Nat King Cole, number 9. And It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, Andy Williams, number 10. A lot of Christmas records, man. Damn, a lot of Christmas records all over this bitch. Sleigh Ride, A Holly Jolly Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Christmas Baby. Damn, bro, people just be bumping these Christmas records like it's nothing. A lot of these songs, though, like get played at these like malls and stuff like that when you're, or even like businesses and shit. Like when you're in the hallway waiting and stuff, they'd be playing these. So that's where a lot of these streams probably come from. Beginning to Look a Lot. That's a long ass song title. It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. That's crazy. Keep going down the list. Bunch of Christmas records just took over the whole fucking charts. Damn, bro. Like every fucking song is almost a Christmas. So finally, we get to like a different normal song. Chris Brown, It Depends on Bryson Tiller, number 42. That went down so much because of all these damn Christmas records. Still a bunch of Christmas songs. Whew. WGFT Gunna, number 54. Hell at Night, BX Plug, number 62. NBA Youngboy, Shot Calling, number 67. Metro Boomin, Take Me There, number 71. Tyler Creator, Sugar on My Tongue, number 74. Airtime, Cardi B, number 82. Went Legit, G Herbo, number 94. And that's it. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, appreciate you guys. Stream us, Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.